My name is Nate Harris from Lincoln, Nebraska. I now live in Waverly, Nebraska. I started Harris Decals in 1997. I pretty much was asked to do decals for companies after I left a local sign company. So I decided, after talking to my dad, that I'd purchase a plotter, put it in my basement, bought a few colors, did a few race cars the first year, and then after that it's grown and grown and grown. Well, when we first started, it was me and my wife. Primarily did it out of my basement. We took half of our basement in a house that we built. We would come home at night. We had no kids. We'd come home at night, work, pretty much until we went to bed, getting stuff done for people each and every day. And then we spent quite a few weekends. And then when racing season came along, primarily I was out doing installs. She was back home cutting and weeding stuff. And that went on for, golly, at least a few years. Probably, 3 or 4 years. And then we got to a point where it was too much to do working full-time. Because one, I could take a different job at a different company doing programming. Or two, I could sell my business and work for another local sign company because they were offering me money for it. Or three, which is the one I chose to do, I decided to hire my brother, who had just started college at that point. And so he worked during the day, got most of it done, then I'd still go out at night and install. So that relieved a lot of the pressure off me and her. When we started, of course, we were in my basement. We did that for a number of years. Then I started talking to my wife about maybe branching out and having our own location. So we did. She thought I was crazy, but we did that. My brother worked there, he was there all day, and then at night I would pick up where he left off and get the stuff done. And then eventually I started working there during the day. I left my job right after my son was born. He's now 13, which is crazy. Let's see, from there, we stayed at that location, which is at 5340 Cornhusker Highway. At that time, we had 1,600 square foot, and we just slowly, it was a kind of a storage area unit place where they had a retail spot, and then they just had storage units. So we just started taking over storage units. We took over 2 units, and then we took over a larger unit, then we took up the upstairs units above that. So we went from like 1,600 square foot to about 3,200 square foot. And at that point, we were pretty much too large to stay there. 11 years ago, we bought this land that we're on today. We mowed it for 8 years. Then after we started looking at where we could move before we ended up moving here, we found out that it was actually cheaper for us to just build our own building and then move into it. So that's what we did. We've been here for 3 years now. So, well, this building is 4,400 square foot. It sits on 3/4 of an acre on Cornhusker Highway, which is one of the busier streets in Lincoln, Nebraska. The Husker Stadium's roughly about 5 minutes away from us. UNL campus is around 4 minutes from us. So it's a good opportunity for part-timers that are in this field. It's close to where they go to school. They can come and work for us during the day, get their feet wet, and then branch out, once they get a full-time job. It gives them good experience. I like change just in general. Most of the people that work here realize that I change stuff every year. Basically, we'll add on to this building before we move or expand to an additional location. We do a lot of stuff all over the United States, so my thought is that we would probably have one that's West Coast based, covers that area, and one that's East Coast based. I'm not sure exactly what location, but our first priority is to make sure that what we do right now, we can scale that across multiple locations. So until we get rules, regulations, all the stuff that it takes to be run easily from one location, then we'll do it. But I'm too worried that we're not at that point right now. For me, I'm most proud of the fact that I can offer other people a job. That to me, I don't look at the money. My wife takes care of all that. I just worry about who's here, making sure that I can provide them somewhere they can work and it's stable for them. From that probably gives me the most satisfaction of all. I've built something that now 9 people work here, 9 people live off of what we do. So that's probably part of why I do it. If you were to ask me 23 years ago, after installing my first vehicle, if I wanted to do that for a while, I'd tell you hell no. That was a nightmare. But as I've gotten better, as I've grown, those are really easy, and now wrapping vehicles is a challenge. So in a few years, wrapping vehicles will be easy. Just part of learning, growing. My hobbies are work and work. No. My other hobbies would be basically following my kids around, taking them to sporting, dance, whatever they're involved in. I try to make sure I'm at every one, and I probably make about 98% of them. So that's kind of my focus right now until they're old enough where they can take care of themselves. So, my favorite artist is Tupac. In my generation, when I grew up, he was the up-and-coming, basically superstar from my high school times, and I just liked his message. I liked the fact they didn't care about what others thought. Favorite color is orange, if you haven't noticed on the website. It's pretty, what would be the right word? Let me start that over.